you encounter God, do well to drop an offering. An encounter is not complete until there is an offering on the altar. The Bible says when God visited Gideon, Gideon gave an offering. Your encounter, for every revelation you get in your life, it is not complete until there is an offering on the altar. Oh, mama maya tata. People who are ready for more encounters are people who give an offering every time an encounter shows up. Yeah, baba shata. It may be in church, it may be with the servant of God, it may be even on your own that you receive that encounter. You might have dreamt in the night and it was an encounter. Please get up in the morning and drop an offering. Encounters are not complete. Even if God appeared to you alone in your closet, make sure on Wednesday and Sunday you drop an offering on the altar, because an offering on the altar is a trigger for the manifestation. God is only ready to give to people who can give back to him. Because in this kingdom there are no owners, you're only a caretaker. And so one of the virtues you must possess as one who has encountered God and desires to encounter God is that your hand must be permanently open. With an open hand, God can put anytime. But I don't know who I'm talking to here. As I'm speaking, I saw an angel of gold and silver. This church is not ready for what God is said to do. He told me with an open hand, I can always pour in as many times as I can. I don't know who I'm talking to here. Every stinginess that has stopped you from having an encounter, every battle that makes you withhold from God what you should give to him, this morning your willpower is broken. Some of you may be distractions on social media. If you live your life up for people, you are a serious casualty. Some of you may be distractions on friends. Please, on the altar of destiny, no other person's opinion counts than you and God. You didn't hear me. On the altar of negotiation for destiny and next levels, no other person's opinion counts than you and God. The problem is that we are living in times where people have an encounter with God, but when it comes to giving to God, they want to go and ask their neighbor. And then God is saying, when I was giving you that encounter, your neighbor was not there. Why is it that on the day of Thanksgiving you are not going to ask your neighbor how much did you give? God is saying, when I came, you were alone. When you were going through the valley of the shadow of death, you were in it alone. When you were going through that affliction that almost took your life, you were in it alone. When you were going through the pit like Joseph, you were in it alone. When people rejected you, it was just you and God. When people insulted you, it was just you and God. And so when it's time to give, you don't need to seek their opinion. Do it like you are led. Do it like you feel it. Even if it means giving your all, give it to him. Because without God you are nothing. If I'm talking to you, let me hear your amen, somebody. Only you remember that night you almost died, if not for God. Only you remember that you were close to death and God showed up. And so when it is time, let God know that he was the one who was there. It was not your neighbor. It was not your friend. Stop living a public life. Stop living a life for public opinions. God says it. I believe it. That settles it. Anything that God gives me, only God can help me keep it. If he takes it away, I am nothing. I don't know if I'm communicating here. Hannah said, Lord, give me the child and I will give him back to you. Some of you have not had the breakthroughs you were praying for, because when God gave you, you didn't give back to him. God also withheld his hand. If you are ready to encounter God, you must be someone that keeps to financial commitments and your vow in kingdom service. You must be one that keeps to your word. Yes. You might have a prophecy, but your absence to yield to instructions may cause that prophecy never to materialize. Not because the prophecy was false, because you failed in playing your part. Hannah said, give me, Lord, and I will give it back to you. I want to ask you a question this morning. All the things you are praying that God should do, When he does them, will you give it back to him? That's the problem with man. There are people that God has given them a job and they forgot about God. There are people that God gave them a new position and they insulted their pastor. The pride of your achievement clouds you. You forget that what you got in the presence of God can only be maintained in the presence of God. The reason you came and they prayed, you got healed and you left the church and the sickness came is because you got that healing in church, but you refuse to stay in church. We live in times where people are doing 419 with God. They come to church for what they can get, not because they truly love the Lord. And in your myopic mind, you think that when you get the miracle and go, it will remain. I don't know who I'm talking to. Hannah understood that this child, even if this child comes, only God can preserve him. Because there are babies picking and they don't choke for night, they die. Picking the day where they born them, they stay only 1 hour, they die. Picking the day where they born them, they finish earnest. As they want start work, they die. Hannah said, I will not be a victim of circumstances. Give me the child and I will give him back to you. Anybody who wants to encounter God over a challenge, you must get to that place where you will tell God, give me this thing and I will. I said, people that are ready to go far with God on a journey of encounter, you must not tire. You must not reach to that place where you tell God, say, Papa God, give me, I go give back for you. Why do you want to be wealthy when your wealth cannot be a blessing to the church? Why do you want to have money? The problem is the nature of your heart. What is delaying some breakthroughs is the nature of your heart. Because even that little one that God gave you, you didn't even pay tithe. That little one that you started seeing light, you were not faithful in the house of God. God said, the way I'm seeing you, if I keep giving you this thing, I may lose you. And the Bible says our God is a jealous God. I don't know who I'm talking to here. And because he does not want to lose you, if you are not careful, some things may not come. But because you have encountered this word this morning, you have one thing to tell God in this service. Papa God, give me, I go give him back for you. Papa God, give me, I go give him back for you. I don't know what I'm talking to here, but God is breaking somebody's willpower. Hey, Lord, lift me and I will give the glory back to you. God, promote me and I will give the glory back to you. God, give me a job and I will not steal your time. Yes.